just realized this is right in front of my face. Ooh.
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on? Testing. Welcome, misfits, to this episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Bible prophecies reveal stunning predictions about the end times. That's right, where we are indeed watching a video from the channel TBN. Is that like TBS, but for Bibles? Bible Prophecy and World Events. Yes, I'm pretty sure. They have... their comedy isn't as great, but still, their sitcoms are eh. But yes, this is called Bible Prophecy Reveals Stunning Prediction About the End Times. So won't you join James W. and myself, Amy Newman, for a good time as we eat bananas at the end of the world. Woohoo! That is right, everyone. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. I said it. It was in the contract, and I said it. Anyway, yes, thank you for joining us on the inner tubes. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. Like, wait, is this live?
I think they probably already have done that because they're here.
Listen, James, we are contractually obligated by Mossad, who doesn't have a great PR department these days. Anyway, I just want to send love to everyone out there. We are indeed a skeptic chat. I still have it's from the other show, but we are a skeptic channel. But yes, we are going to have some fun in the sun as we talk about Bible prophecy. It reveals the stunning prediction about the end times.
We're live, Neil. This is live.
Live. Oh my god.
We're doing it live.
Yes. I mean, this is the year 2013. I think, right? Yes. Anyway, sending so much love. In fact, if you can, speaking of which, live, if you hit that bell icon, you get close enough. We can say hello to you. Like, Neil, what is up? Sending so much love. Sinister, Rubiks, DBK, everyone out there, keep on saying hi, and we'll keep on saying hi to you. We'll get into some shout outs and then just get right into the fun because we do have a treat. This is the Banana Man. I told James there was 2 topics and we're going to choose the one that has more potassium.
You know, there's a city in Siberia where it gets so cold they use bananas as hammers.
I can only imagine.
Well, now you know.
Now you know. Well, I mean, if it's that cold, I mean, you're going to have to use something as a hammer. Anyway, I was trying to make a small pee-pee joke, and it really didn't connect. Anyway.
Yeah, didn't have the length.
Like the blood vessels when you are in Siberia. Anyway, yes, sending shout outs, like you can send in super chats, we'll interact, I'll dance around because I like to dance. And I actually am a karaoke person. James, I would do a karaoke stream, but no one comes to a karaoke stream. I mean, do people still even go out to karaoke when there's karaoke? I would. And as well as our Evolving Badge System, our channel members, you can feel the gears just roasting in my head. Down below and join our Evolving Badge System as we trigger creationists and evolution. Can I just say, and I do have this, James, it is my new, I will talk about sex and gender if you agree to 3 things, James, and I feel like they are a reasonable 3 things. All right. You have to A, agree that we're humans. I feel like that's, pretty easy.
Okay.
You have to B, agree that humans are apes. I feel like that shouldn't be a problem.
And 3, you have to agree that you will not be playing any Charlie XCX songs during the debate, because that will ruin the tempo and mood.
And being a mammal.
Not conducive for discussion.
Yeah. Well, and I guess primates. So yes. And I guess I would say we're animals. We are actually would be the first. We're primates, and we're mammals. If you can accept that we are animals, humans are animals. That's what I really forgot to, because I think I just said that we're humans. That humans are animals. That
like the Discovery Channel.
And that we are mammals. If you can accept all 3 of those things, I'll talk about sex and gender. Because what they say is you don't understand basic biology. And I have to say, you believe that women come from a rib, and you think that the genesis, really the abiogenesis of life happened in, I don't know, this time frame for 6,000 to 4,000 years, and then that birthed the diversity of life that we have now.
Yeah.
And I think we have deeper problems than just sex and gender when we're talking about biology. That's just my rant, my LGBTQ rant for the how long have we been talking? Anyway, sending so much love. We'll give, like I said, to our.
Don't we have like a meter of woke time that we have to hit per broadcast?
Yes,
from
we
Soros.
do. James,
I'm spend at least a certain amount of time being woke
yes, we do.
and talking about it.
Listen, we have to teach that sex changes are mandatory. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what has to be done. It doesn't matter what your sex is; you have to become the opposite. Even if you're transgender right now, you
have to detransition so that you can transition again, but properly.
But in another few years, we'll transition
Jesus.
again, and you you make it. Yeah, you go back and forth.
It's okay if you do it for Jesus. If
you do it for Jesus as well. I'm pretty sure. They're going crazy with the transgender stuff. Oh my god, I shouldn't talk politics. I was telling my partner the other day, I feel like they care way more about transgenders than a transgender will ever care about transgenders. It triggers. Okay. Anyway, focus.
You kind of just wanted to go about your life and just live as a regular person, and they keep bringing you back into these debates about it.
So listen, I like that I'm very happy. I'm having an upcoming debate. I'll continue to send that shout out, and I'm looking forward to it. But it annoys me that the political leaders, in my opinion, have no other social issue. They're like, listen, and I'm talking about, the think tanks and people that end up, the policymakers, they got over abortion and they're like, listen, abortion was kind of our thing. And now we can fight it state to state. We can win some battles, at least where we are anyway. And so they're like, we need a social issue.
A wedge issue, yeah.
Oh, a good wedge issue. Something
Wedge
that'll play
politics.
well at the Super Bowl. We can make a bunch of catchphrases, and we can pretend like we're the science people. How do you do that? Just yell, "Don't you believe science?" You never hear that when we talk about global warming.
The new show on TBN, Ray Comfort or Ken Hovind, the science guy, better than Bill Nye.
The science guy. They give Bill Nye so much shit. To be a scientist, you only need a bachelor's degree. They're like, he's not a scientist. He doesn't have a doctorate.
You don't need a doctorate.
You don't need a doctorate, yes. And, I'm sending so much love to all of our science communicators. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye. I guess they don't really need our shout-outs, but I feel like they're going places.
Tapiocaweasel.
Indeed. I haven't seen Lawrence Krauss around lately.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Dr. Kent, the science gent.
Dr. Kent,
but he's not a gent. He's kind of a dick most of the time. So
he is.
He doesn't really fit.
He is unfortunately kind of a dick, and he's also a con artist. Just to point out, he said live that he bought viewers. I don't know why. I mean, he's like semi-famous. I get like not everyone's going to know who Ken Hovind is, maybe in the debate world and apologetics and stuff like that. So Kent, baby, don't buy your viewers. or like I continue to say, when you do crimes, don't say them out loud. On record, in front of people, I guess. I guess sometimes people get away with it. Don't talk about politics.
He has no filter.
He doesn't. And see, sometimes people are just dicks. I'm looking forward to my debate because I feel like that's going to be my thesis. If you would like, if my debate opponents are watching right now, which I don't think they are, but nonetheless, I have a very simple definition, James. Tell me if you think this is fair.
Who are they, by the way, your opponents? Do you know them?
I know a lady that I have to look up her name, and Alex Stein.
Alex motherfucking Stein again, really? Okay.
Which, I mean, his shtick is to be a troll or a comedian. If I want to give the charitable,
he's not a serious person
definition, yeah, or because I was just looking over his stuff, trying to get a feel.
It's a transgender debate, April.
It is, yeah. So the debate topic is going to be. I just had it up and then I lost it. Is saying trans women aren't women transphobic? And tell me if you think this is the strategy I'm going to take, James. You tell me if this is a good strategy, which is say, I am going to say up front, this shouldn't be a debate about biology, because I think if we were to actually break it down, we all agree on the same aspects of biology. That it's not that people are changing their chromosomes. It's not that they're changing their physical. We do have surgeons that create, sexual reassignment surgery, but they're not changing actual chromosomes or changing actual sex. And so
if they find your body 10,000 years from now and there's DNA left, they'll look at it and say your chromosomes.
And that's not really, I always say when you're trying to bring that up in an argument normally, it always just feels like people are just trying to be, and it's not always, but it feels like people are just trying to go, yeah, or mean. And it's like, well, no, we already know that. It's not that affects us. It's that we're trying to live our lives in a new gender. It's that this is how we just feel and express ourselves, and we feel more comfortable this way. It's who we are naturally. They don't really like that word natural because they view this as such an artificial thing. And so it isn't a biology debate. Calling a trans woman a woman isn't to say, oh my goodness, poof, they have changed their sex. It's, I have acknowledged them in their gender. And this is my definition of transphobic. Because I've boiled down, because I think about this, transphobic, misogynistic, racist. I'll even include misandry if you want to go against men. Really, what is the heart of all of these subjects trying to get to? And I'll tell you, James, and hear me out at this definition. It's being an asshole. All right? And I'll even make it specific when it comes to transphobic. Being transphobic means that you are knowingly being an asshole to a trans person about being transgender. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the reason I'd say it's phobic is because you know how you choose to feel comfortable and express your gender doesn't affect anybody else. It doesn't hurt anybody. So for them to feel that strongly that no, you need to conform to my ideals about gender and sex. I am imposing them on you. How you feel, what makes you comfortable, doesn't matter. I'm overriding that because you need to conform to me.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, a lot of times the argument goes, in my opinion, it goes either one of two ways. Either I accept biology for what it is, and are you really going to call me, am I an asshole for just accepting biology? That's how vague and kind of open they kind of leave it. And you're like, well, no, you're not being an asshole for accepting science or biology, because that's not really what should be in question. And then the other is, well, it's my deeply held religious belief. Do you really think I'm an asshole for holding my deeply held religious belief? And I go, well, I mean, I can't change your religious belief. I can't, make you not want to be an asshole. All I can say is you're being an asshole, and I'm going to go about my day, and I hope that I win you over with kindness. If not, then I guess I hope I just don't see you that much in life. Does that make sense? That's the only thing I can do.
Well,
I think you are being transphobic. That's not the debate. Whether, assholes can exist. I think that people should be free to be transphobic. That sucks. It does a little, but that's the price of freedom. Nonetheless, that's not the topic of the debate. Is that transphobic? And in my opinion, if you are being an asshole to a trans person, again, for being transgender, because I don't want to just make it seem like being an asshole, because maybe a transgender person is being kind of a dick and you should be an asshole. I don't know. Maybe they're being a Karen at, at a Walmart or something. But if you're being a dick to a transgender person just because they're wearing clothes that you dislike, you're an asshole. And I feel like I should be able to call you out for being an asshole. I know they don't want me to use transphobic, but
deeply held religious beliefs. I mean, and that's like the thing. It's like if you're a Christian and you happen not to be gay, well, you can be very hard on the gay people because that has no effect on you. You could be like, they're evil, they're an abomination, they're sinning against God. But I'm sure they're doing things in their life that the Bible would condemn. So they choose to focus on the ones that don't really affect them. Yeah, great. Don't have sex with someone of the same sex. Well, that's fine because I wouldn't do that anyway, so it has no effect on them. But they are doing other things in their life that I'm sure the Bible condemns, and they have a much more nuanced and a much more open interpretation to those verses and those commandments that actually have an effect on them. It's like Ken Hovind before he started getting divorces every other year. He was like, one man, one woman, divorce and remarriage is evil. It's a sin. Then his wife leaves him, and you know, I mean, I can't be alone the rest of my life. I'm 60 years old. I'm gonna live. I don't want to be by myself the rest of my life. It's not good for the man to. Their theology liberalizes real quick when it's actually something that places a limitation on them and what they want to do. They can find a loophole. They find a way around it. But you know, for the things that don't affect them, they can be strict hardliners, and you know that they can be assholes. You're muted.
Oh, yes. Basically, if it doesn't affect their lives, then it becomes way easier to just kind of be an asshole. And so, trying to be. See, here's the thing, and I go back and forth on my feelings about him because I joke, comedian is my ethnicity. I jokingly and truly believe that. And so in a certain attempt, he is kind of a jester. It's kind of adjacent to what James and I do. But some of the stuff I think I would say is inappropriate. Who am I to say it is inappropriate? I don't know. But it's just a feeling. Like he went to a vet. He pretended to be a Ukraine veteran and went into a city council and started talking about how he had brought his wife over to the Azov, whatever the hell, the far nationalists in Ukraine. And he said that, basically the leader was such a smoking hot daddy guy that his wife fell for him, and he just started, fake crying in front of them, being like, I just want my wife back from this Ukraine, nationalist leader. And it's like, I guess in some way you can understand he is doing a joke. There was a bunch of veterans calling out stolen valor in the comment section. All these people are like, "Don't you get it? It's a joke." And it's like, well,
he's also gotten into drag before and gone to events dressed as a woman to mock trans.
Of course,
drag queens.
Of course. Yeah. I bet he frequently dresses up as women to mock.
You bet he spends more time in Victoria's Secret shopping than your average woman.
Maybe just a little. Get dressed as shoe on head and mess it up. Sending so much love to Freak. What is up?
Alex time, prime time, Alex
time. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like as a comedian myself, Mark. Hopefully, and sending so much love. I know there's so many people out there sending so much love, Mark. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And so much love, everyone. There was someone else out there too, Pseudonym and DBK and everybody out there. But to Freak, I'm looking forward to this. And I think his shtick is to piss people off, and maybe it's not, but maybe that's an not kind thing to say, but that's kind of what trolling is, right? Yeah. To get an emotion out of you,
get a response, a reaction.
And I feel like of all the things people can insult me for, I feel like the transgender, I feel like he could pronoun me wrong all day and I will just because that stuff doesn't do anything to me.
He's just trying to score points with Mr. Batman, so Mr. Batman will return his text. Because please, Mr. Batman, please, Mr. Batman, I transgendered him. I misgendered him. I misgendered him, Mr. Batman. Please, I called him sir. Please. I called him sir like at least 50 times.
Just like I call you sir at night when I'm tucked in bed.
Don't spank me, Mr. Batman. Don't get the paddle out, Mr. Batman.
Sending so much love, Taco. Woo, see him out there too. Oh, we had a fun stream the other day. check that out, and check out his channel, and check out Mark Reid's channel. Check out all the Skeptic Atheist channels out there. But thank you so much, Freak.
Breakfast for the taco, Mr. Batman.
My favorite Christian apologist. He shows people how religion they're
how to be a dick. He embodies the asshole that his God is.
Again, not to make this a rated R stream, but my favorite line to him still, because he's an ex-gay, and so I still like to ask him, "Hey, Mr. Batman, is it true that one sucker always?" And he just gets silent for a few minutes and then calls sirring me a lot. But once again, not to just, get down and dirty into the mud already, James.
If you've sucked one, you've sucked them all. You might as well not stop.
Oh, my goodness.
Sir, I've repented from my sin. I repent every day, sir. I ask God for forgiveness every day. I tell him how sorry I am for being such a bad boy. My Heavenly Father, I'm so sorry, Heavenly Father, for being a bad boy.
They also don't like when we say Sky Daddy, but they use Heavenly Father. Can I ask, if you were to put up heaven and you were to ask for synonyms, Sky, not too bad, and then if you were to take Father, I feel like Daddy, Sky Daddy, we're making fun of them again. It's official, Heavenly Father. Mr. Batman is no longer gay. It's my favorite thing. All these people. You know how you know, by the way? Well, it's in his back. He'll tell you eventually if you're in his backstory. His backstory, he's actually Batman. But he became straight now that he's a Christian, has some poor wife. Oh my goodness. But it's okay. I bet he goes away to camps and Mr. Batman equal Brett Keane. I haven't seen Brett Keane stuff in a while. I feel bad because every once in a while Brett Keane does a video and then I keep on I always forget to do responses to him. I do them basically while I'm live, but he was going all in on end time stuff and all sorts of. For a little while, I thought he was laying low on he stopped calling himself God TV radio and all this stuff. Then he turned it back. Yeah. What's up, Doctor Who? That's a good series. Long-running series. A very long-running series. Are you I feel like you're not a Doctor Who fan. Jeez.
No.
Did I hit them? Yes, let's send out some love, and then James, I'll hand it off to you for a second. And this podcast brought to you by 2 Hour Delays. Oh my God, I love snow. Of course, I'm not even talking about the Hollywood snow, but actual snow. My nephew is so happy right now. I want you to know, because he is so into the environment and weather, and I think he's going to be a hydrologist. Which, James, I am, as an aunt, I just want you to know how proud that makes me. I'm kind of obsessive, and I really do think that my niece and my nephew think this is probably way too dorky, but I have bought them 1 to 2 books every birthday and every Hanukkah or Christmas, whatever you want to call it. So they've gotten 2 books from me a year for all their whole life. But I've been trying to get them. I guess I don't have kids myself. I got to get someone into college. And it worked. He's about to get his associates in environmental science, and then he's going to go and get his bachelor's in hydrology, whatever that is.
Well, Sinister, I worked very hard on my degree. I saved for for 8 months, the back of the box is cornflakes, and I mailed all my points in to get my degree. I worked very hard. I ate lots of cornflakes to get that degree.
Yes. Oh, congratulations. I was going to say congratulations. She's indoctrinating children into believing P isn't equal to NP. I agree. As well as I'm indoctrinating your children into be gay. In fact, maybe we should just do the opposite. If you're straight, you're going to be gay. If you're gay, you're going to be straight. It's going to be
telling the kids they come from monkeys.
They come
That's
from
what they teach in the schools. That's what they teach them.
In arguments with KJV lately, and she came back like a wart, sending so much love out there to the creationists and apologists of the world. She's a flat earther too. Did you know that?
Oh, I mean, of course. Why not?
I bet Alex is a creationist. I'm pretty sure. Are monkeys
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
They're definitely object oriented. Sending so much love. Let's send love to our Patreons at patreon.com/Amy Newman with some awesome backstage, fantastic, and some support love, like sending so much love to Azo, reminding us we're the Skeptic and Ranting community, like Chris Disciple, reminding us that we have theists in the Skeptic and Ranting community. I've been vibing well with liberal theists on certain issues socially lately. Please continue to feed children. If you're trying to also take away Meals on Wheels, please stop. What were we talking about? Anyway.
Talking about, no, the flat Earth is not dead.
Flat Earth.
It keeps coming back.
The problem with conspiracy theories is that they get echo chambered out in these algorithms, and I know baby boy, he gets excited when I get excited. Sending so much love to davegar. The world is round. It's 4.5 billion years old. If you think otherwise, you are wrong. It's not an opinion. If you think otherwise, prove it. And sending so much love to Rachel.
You're making the claim. The burden lies with you. Prove the otherwise. They don't take any burden.
The problem is if you offer them, I mean, we've known how the world was round for thousands of years. They were doing shadow tests in wells across cities. Basically early science thousands of years ago. And so flat Earth is actually an embarrassment to the species. I do blame religion, though. I know it's easy and basically the sponsor of this channel. But I've never met a flat Earth atheist. I know it's possible. There's no technically thing that is warranting that it can't exist. It's just, my goodness. Even Adam Lore
there's at least one out there.
Adam Lore used to be my evolution skeptic that was an atheist. I'm pretty sure that Brett Keene's friend is now a Christian or.
I mean, if you're doubting, like harboring persistent doubts about evolution, that signals that there's something wrong with your reasoning and how you're approaching evaluating evidence and claims, and James, you're ripe for the target of religion at that point.
It's one of those things that I feel like the more you learn about it, the more you just go, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just don't understand.
Like, his critiques, they're very, very silly, little like in the middle of a robust theory of evolution, you're finding a few things in the middle there that you don't quite understand, or you don't think that could account for this, or you don't think that could cause that. And Yeah.
Well, you have manufactured things like irreducible complexity, which I don't think, a lay creationist creates, but they think of these things in these fucking think tanks. And then you have, just to bring it back onto the topic, I mean, this man sat there, not ironically, on camera, held a banana, and the gentleman that we're going to be watching tonight, and opened the said banana and said that because it basically opens as easily as a soda can, that it's designed. God made it that way.
The atheist's worst nightmare, I think he called it, was a banana.
Oh, and it is my worst nightmare, because although it's not the United States, at least, James, finally, we could blame someone outside of our own country. It is evidence that there may still not be intelligent life on this planet. Anyway.
Of course, Ken Hoban says, no, Ray Comfort was not wrong. Ray Comfort made an excellent point.
I bet. They collaborate, James. It's like scientists, but they're bullshit artists.
Yeah, they have to cross-reference their nonsense and make sure it all lines up, and their up is down and right is left, and if they say it convincingly enough, maybe their viewers will believe it.
Oh yeah, you had banana too? Oh, I totally had banana. Well, yeah, sending so much love to Rachel.
The Pancake Earth model. Thank you, Rachel. Or the Pancake Earth model.
I'm in favor of the Raptor Earth model. It makes the most sense because raptors were intelligent, therefore the Earth is shaped like one. Listen, it's about as better as anyone. I keep on hitting the microphone. This is such a bad spot for it, and yet I feel like if I move it away, you're not going to be able to hear properly. Oh my goodness, James, tell me if it's that much worse. But I feel bad. I feel like when I hit the microphone, that can't sound for anyone at home listening. What's up, Sven? I might be a goober. It's okay. If you're allergic, I'm sorry. Nonetheless, sending love to Rejos. We are going to do a Bible study. I think I almost did a Bible study, but I was like, I had to look up where we're doing, and so that is going to be up and coming again. However, I really do want to do it because the Bible gives us such great material, James. It's not always, the most exciting. Sometimes they're just trying to, allocate land, but other times they're killing people. So that's fun.
Filler content, like just random nonsense stories, just to kill time, pass the time between massacres and catastrophes and such.
He does love a good massacre or catastrophe.
Yeah, good apocalypse, mass extinction event.
At the end of the world, in their like, so like the other animals keep on going. Like when they rapture everything, does like the rest of the world just keep going?
Yes. Yeah. And then the Antichrist will probably say something like, look, we had to remove these Christians. They are the problem with Earth. They are holding us back. They are keeping us in the dark ages. We had to eliminate them. So they have been removed so that we can build our utopia and worship the true God. This guy over here, Baphomet. Worship Baphomet.
Sure, Baphomet. Yeah. But it's just like, okay, even if like all the humans got wiped out, I still feel like the planet would still be doing okay. Even certain ecosystems.
Yeah, they don't care about that. They don't care about that. That's not a concern of theirs. The planet is here to provide for us, to be our habitat.
No.
It by itself is purposeless. It doesn't do anything in their mindset. It's only here to sustain us.
What's up, Alabama football? There were no Muslims at the time. They were Philistines. Oh my goodness. I have a bone to pick with Dearborn, Michigan tonight. I know I shouldn't get into it, but Dearborn, listen. I want to defend all my Muslim brothers and sisters politically. I dropped my pen when I said that. But this is what happens. This is what happens. Don't trust chaotic random people. All right, there we go. I'm done my PSA, James. It's over. Let's continue.
Prostate-specific antigen.
Anyway, how does Satan condemn Satan? Hey, the funny thing is the Jews don't believe in Satan. And he just
not
kind
the
of gets
same way
retconned.
that the Christians believe in.
Yes, there is technically the accuser. Well,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's two different characters. There's the snake, the serpent, who is in the right, at least their own character, and they are an actual snake because that's supposed to be the explanation for how they lose their eggs,
the Jews,
their legs. And then the
don't
accuser.
explicitly, yeah. The Jews don't explicitly link the two. They're not. They don't make that clear that that's what they think, like the Christians do.
Well, and then there's the accuser, and the accuser is God's right man. He's supposed to be just basically challenging people. God. And so these people become the same character and become what would be Satan. And yes, good times, God's prosecutor.
Well, that's because in the Old Testament, a story's got to have two sides, right? You've got to have a good and evil. So in the Old Testament, God's adversaries are the other gods. They suck. Don't worship them. I'm better. My dick is way bigger than them. Worship me and I'll take care of you. But then towards the end, it starts to evolve into monotheism where like those gods aren't even like real anymore. They don't exist. It's just our God. Well, that's a problem, right? Because he needs to have an enemy to work against. So they took this accuser in the Old Testament and they morphed him into Satan to be God's arch enemy. It's got to be a struggle. It's got to be a compelling narrative, and without an opposition, that's just not there.
Listen, we went and we did kind of some testing, and the ratings came back, and we were thinking of a bad guy. What do you think about a bad guy? But yes.
But how would a bad guy come from a good God who only made good things?
Oh, I know, all that shit. It makes no sense, James, if you go into it. And each Christian has their own way for how they deal with it. Listen, James, it's only the bad guys. Listen, James, it's only that you're separated from God. Listen, James, it's only that he tickles your balls every 2 hours. It's like, all right, whatever. Everyone has they create their own version because it's a cafeteria. I don't believe in the Quran. Sorry. That's okay. I see. It's funny. I like to read all three of them, but we don't do it as much. I've read portions of the Quran just because there's been so much flack from Muslims who have said,
you don't read
you're just a Westerner, you don't read the Quran. And so I've gone out of my way. I would even say I have favorite passages. And I've told this to liberal Muslims, and I feel bad because you can watch them get so excited and then their heart drops because they realize that the passages that I like, are only for satirical reasons. They have one that is just a guy talking with ants. He falls on his butt. He laughs so hard. The surah is called The Ant. You couldn't have a better chapter name for talking ants than The Ant. If you want to know which surah The Ant's about,
the next
The Ant. There are two movies about ants, animated ant movies, and yet there is this passage in the Quran. Can I tell you that there's an entire surah about the ant? And there's only really a single sentence in which he cuts the moon in half. And yet the moon miracle is like their signature miracle. The moon miracle is a resurrection equivalent. Oh, I know no love necessary, but then I'm just sending love out there. Thanks, to any random. I know I can't help it. We're just sending so much love to you. And yeah, it is just amazing. So we should read these texts. You should understand them. I had to read the
but people memorize the Quran. We have kids age
yes.
5 who've already memorized it.
I love that apologetic memorization. Well, first of all, it was memorization. The Jews did only memorization for the vast majority of the time until the Second Temple fell, and then they were kind of dragged, kicking and screaming, and had to write things down and have a book. And that was basically the creation of the Tanka. And from the Tanka, we create what is the Torah, this Old Testament that is contained within the Bible. You mix that with the Bible, and we have formed Christianity. And then the memorization, that was the whole thing. Because for some reason, the Muslims, it came back. They, for some reason, they just seem to love the fact that if you can memorize it, that is actually the true test of a religion. I mean, like, I feel like that's just really a cool thing that certain humans can do if we practice a lot. Actually, there are some people with memories that are photographic. Nonetheless, you practice, sure, cool.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those North Korean videos where they just have a bunch of people doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, and they think that is just like the most amazing spectacle ever done. Like, okay, it's nice, yeah. They all did exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. Probably because if they didn't or misstep, they would get shipped to a labor camp and be dead. So that they probably have good incentive to do their moves well.
Also, James, who doesn't love choreography?
Apparently, Kim Jong-un loves it.
Did you know that he actually shot like 16 or something holes in one on his like first time doing golf? I just want to say
that he retired.
And he retired. Yeah.
Yeah, he retired after that because he already,
Well, he was the Tiger Woods of the country. Who needs?
He's better than Michael Jordan at basketball.
That's right.
Better than Tiger Woods at golf.
Oh, goodness. She's being a brat. I can't help it being a brat.
The world's strongest man.
And you can visibly see their success when you look at the light sky, and you notice that like half of Korea has lights, and the other Korea doesn't. There's like a light for probably his like his cook probably has electricity.
Maybe 0.5% of the country that gets it 24 hours.
Good times. God doesn't seem to want. They'll say it's a godless country, but apparently God just can't help them either. They're freak. They sleep a lot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. You just get way better sleep regimen than South Korea. I'm pretty sure. Also, sending love to Ian Davenport. And sending so much love, reminding us that apologetic arguments are not that great. I love that. Comes back on topic, James, because that really is a point of argument tonight. I'll be honest with you. Like, Ray Comfort makes one of the greatest arguments to me for why you shouldn't be a theist or a Christian. Like, it's wrapped in like a lot of psychology for why he is a Christian, and yet to me it's just a wonderful billboard for why not to be a Christian. What's up, praise I am that I mama? Oh, sorry, big bad mama. How's Praise doing? We haven't checked him out.
He's all right. I saw he was doing a stream the other night. He still exists. He's still around, sort of.
I go around.
Smokey Saint is sort of back. I've seen he's been coming back on the Cone Cult Club channel, the KKK channel.
Man, that's like an alliance with the Catholic Church. On one hand, you're like, hey, listen, the Catholic Church believes in evolution. The Catholic Church believes in the Big Bang. And on the other hand, they kind of, to use a Bill Burr reference, they pass around pedos like SeaWorld kind of passed around those whales. Just send them off to another trainer. They'll be fine.
Listen, he said he was sorry. He'll never do it again.
He'll never do it again. He asked Jesus for forgiveness. That's how I feel about Smokey Saint. Because he's an old Earth creationist. As long as he can keep his hands clean. Sponsored by Nabisco, this podcast. Sending so much love. What's up, y'all? Sending so much love to you, our Victoria. Sending so much love to Black Atheist Rants. Sending love to all of you. All right, James, I did.
Oh boy.
Bravo. So yes, DBK, it is. I say this to Christians and Muslims, and they get so mad at me. But I'm like, if it were chocolate milk, all right, it would be Judaism and Zoroastrianism. And if you mix those two religions, because Jews were Canaanites. That's the great irony, is that because how much they hate, they like basically do shout outs, Twitter wars before there were Twitter wars with the Canaanites. And why? It's because the Canaanites are their fucking cousins. They were Canaanites. Yeah.
Rivals
what happened is that the Canaanites have a whole bunch of shit ton of gods. They were a pantheon of gods. And the Jews, who were the Yahwehists, decided that, this one apparently storm god, like desert storm god, is going to be our god. And so the Yahwehists go out there. They do that. We do the whole burning of the temple, bada, bada, bada. We get our book, and then you get these inspirations from other religions, like Zoroastrianism, which has concepts of, we were just saying you need a good story and all this for jokes, but I mean, Zoroastrianism has built into it systems of good and evil, heaven and hell.
They have
an apocalypse and all this, that's. It almost is like a great way to, if you compare it, you go, oh yeah, Judaism, and then gospel, or I guess Gabriel's gift, which is what the Quran is. It was actually written by Abu Bakr. It's funny, the Christians and the Jews and the whoever, I don't know, Hindus or whatever the frig these days. It was like, we don't go over Muslims. But no, they're all equally silly. And yeah, Bob Barker. It was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was his first caliph leader after Muhammad. He was the successor. And the Shia don't really like him, but he did write the first Quran, and but yeah, it was probably Gabriel. It's angels, James. They love angels. Who doesn't love angels? I love angels. I'm working my way through my book. But
angels in the outfield.
Touched
by an angel.
Touched by an angel in the outfield. I think that's the sequel. But James, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to be right back, and then we'll get it on. We are Skeptic and Ranting on Bible prophecy reveals stunning prediction about the end times. But James, how are you? What are your thoughts about the topic and life itself?
Well, the angel manufactured consent, Mark. So he got it, but he kind of manufactured it. So that's what we got going on tonight. Good to be back, everybody. Been away for a couple weeks. Things get hectic, and between work and everything else going on and whatnot. Want to thank the people who left messages on the channel page after I made the post about Gizmo. Thank everybody for responding and reaching out. That definitely helped. Definitely, we appreciate that. Yeah, we had some time tonight. Amy's got time before school in the morning because of the snow, because global warming apparently is nonsense, because we still have snow sometimes. So therefore, school starts a little later tomorrow, so we have time to come on and spend with you guys. Well, divinity implies consent. It does, because, well, let me tell you, like the ultimate, Christians talk about free will, but actually the ultimate goal of them is to exist in a place without free will, because they plan to live in heaven, where they openly say there will be no sin. They won't be able to sin there. Therefore, that means God will take away their free will. So you won't allow them to sin. So we'll just sit there praising him mindlessly forever, because that's what they're programmed to do. But he'll make it so they love every second of it. They'll be happy. It'll be a lot of fun. There's nothing else they'd ever even think about doing, because it's how they're programmed. Kind of free will is one of the biggest red herrings that they throw out in Christianity. They use it as an excuse for things, but they really don't believe in it. They really don't like it. It's just a rescuing device for things that they'd otherwise have a very hard time explaining. Yeah, no desire to sin. That means you have no ability to. You'll be incorruptible, unable to be corrupted. So the question is then, why did he have to give us the desire to sin here? Why was that so important? Why did we have to have this time here where we can do those choices? Well, I mean, it seems like God, he just really, really, really wanted to torture a lot of people forever. So he set up the rules that would allow him to do that, while still saying, it's not my fault, it's their fault, even though he's the one who set all of it up. Yeah. Well, we hope everybody is doing good. Can't breathe underwater. Free will doesn't exist. Well, yeah, if you're killing people, that's and that's another thing, is that threats and coercion are not consistent with free will. So they'll always say that, listen, God wants you to love him, he wants you to worship him, but he won't force you to do that. He won't. If you refuse to do that, well, he won't impose that on you. So if you don't make that choice, well, the other option is to go to hell and be tortured forever. So you can either choose to worship him or choose to be tortured forever. But it's your choice. He's not forcing you to make that choice either way. It's totally on you. And that's not free will. That's threats. That's coercion. That's not what any sane person could call free will. Free will would be giving you a choice to do your own thing. Like, listen, I want you to worship me. I want you to love me. But if you don't, if there's something else you'd rather do, I understand. You can go out and do what makes you happy, pursue your own desires and purposes. And yeah. Or you could say, listen, I appreciate the offer for this eternal life thing. I have to believe these things that I can't force myself to believe. Listen, I just want to exist. I want to live my life. I didn't ask to be born, but I'm here. I just want to live my life, believe what makes sense to me. And when I die, I'm okay with that. I can die. I don't have to live forever. Say, well, no, that's not the game that you're playing. Well, I didn't agree to play this game. Well, unfortunately, your parents had sex. You were born. Now you're stuck in the game, which is the root of it all, is that none of us asked to be born, yet we have this choice imposed on us when as soon as we're able to learn and speak language. This choice is one of the first things we're presented with as children in countries where religion is prominent and ubiquitous. Is we have this choice to We're told we have to believe a certain set of things, and if we don't, things are going to be really, really, really bad for us. But it's okay because we can believe those things, because even though they can't prove it, the people that know more than us and love us tell you, they assure you that they're really, really, really true. Can't prove it to you, but they really, really are true. So you should just go along with that, right? Yeah, but none of us asked to do this. None of us volunteered to play this game. It is it's something that's imposed on us, knowing that most people around the world will fail the game. That most people will not come to the knowledge of the truth according to Christianity. And of course, this God, he bears no burden whatsoever in making sure that people can get this information. If they don't get it, they don't get it. Fine. They go to hell. That's it. He doesn't care. He's not burning. So if you never had a chance to hear about Jesus or Muhammad or whatever, I mean, sucks to be you, but that's the rules, and he set him up that way. And you know what? He's not the one burning. So at the end of the day, he doesn't care. If billions of people burn forever, well, I mean, that's on them. You know, he just makes the rules. He doesn't, you know, it's good to be God. It's good to be God, right? And, you know, did he earn this? Well, I mean, how did he do this? Well, he took his properties and he arbitrarily defined those as good and just and moral. He didn't have to try. He didn't have to strive to live a certain way or to do things that are against his nature like he imposes on us. No, he just took, this is how I am. This is perfect. This is good. Everybody has to be exactly like me. But I'm going to give them a nature that is in conflict with mine. I'm going to allow them to want things and to have desires and thoughts that go against what I want. And then I'm going to punish them if they actually indulge in those thoughts, desires, and needs that they have. I'm going to punish them if they do. Yeah. It's you know, why does this have to be such a high stakes game, like in a casino where you have to make the right bet, you got to pick the right religion, you got to pick the right version of that religion, because there's all different versions of it. There's no singular Christianity or Islam. There's differences, and some of those differences might be more subtle. Some of those might be you know, not big. You can, you know, Baptists and Methodists, they probably all believe each other's gone to heaven. They just have a different take on things. But not all denominations are like that. There are certain, they'd say, well, no, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not true Christians. The Mormons, they're not true Christians. Some would say the Catholics, maybe they are, maybe they're not true Christians. Yeah, and when it comes to like eating pork, like even like the rabbis in their commentaries, they've said, like, because like pork today, they're like, okay, back then maybe there was some type of reason medically that avoiding it would be good, but they say, well, no, it's just a test. It's God testing you to see if you'll listen to him. So he makes arbitrary rules up, no rhyme or reason to them, just to see if you'll follow him, so he can punish you if you don't. What do you think?
I think that... Sorry, I was getting a community warning on Facebook. We're live on Facebook as well, and it was trying to give me something. It removed a meme from me, and that completely sidetracked me from your denomination's talk, which is they always do some sort of no true Scotsman, and they basically... my joke is actually that it's nothing is backwards, or it's backwards compatible, but you can't go forward. So the Jews don't want to have any relation with anyone, but then the Christians are like, hey, Jews. And then the Muslims are like, hey, Jews, Christians, we're kind of like you. And then each group backwards is always like, well, no. The Christians to the Muslims are like, nah. And the Jews to the Christians are kind of like, nah. But backwards compatibility, it's a bitch. Maybe God didn't know about bacon. Can I tell you the great irony about bacon is it is probably one of my favorite foods, and they're actually really smart creatures. I was looking, I don't know why, but brain size wise, they're smarter, or at least have the capability than dogs, cats, a wide variety of animals, even monkeys. And yet I know I love me some ribs. I love me some.
But 3,000 years ago, they're like, oh look, they wallow in the ground and eat shit. That's unclean. We can't eat that.
And they were wrong. They do not wallow in shit. They will only very specifically. Well, yes, they very specifically go for mud. And so mud looks dirty to us, but it's how they cool down because they do not have sweat glands.
It's like the elephants. They spray themselves with mud to keep the sun from baking their skin.
Raise pigs and cows. Hands down, pigs are smarter. Oh, yeah. Poor cow. See, I could tell. Just cows sometimes the looking in the both directions. You kind of get this. You there. But I love cows. They're so cute. And pigs are very smart.
Like living steak is
living steak. Oh my goodness! But pigs can actually play with joysticks and beat people in video games. I find that amazing.
Of course, Dr. Chris Thompson says so can neurons can learn to play Pong too.
That's pretty cool. We should put neurons up against generated neurons up against a pig. Now we're doing science. Nonetheless, let's get into it, James. We're going to have some fun because we are going to talk about Bible prophecy, stunning prediction, reveals stunning prediction about the end times.
The thing with these is they're not very good at making predictions ahead of time. They're good at back analyzing and looking at things that have already happened and then integrating that into their story. But when it comes to telling you what's going to happen next, they don't seem to be very good at that.
No, well, that's the thing about prophecy is you need to be as vague as possible, because if you get specific, you can't sue them, but you can just tell in your eyes they're worried about it. Now, this is, without a doubt, 100% potassium. So I warn anyone, if you have an allergy, that we are going in deep with Banana Man. It's only 11 minutes.
How deep do you want that banana in?
We'll keep it on regular time. James, I want it deep. We're going in with Bible prophecy reveals stunning prediction about the end times.
That brains the
all the opposition scream, yes, we just scored. We say, no, we know the end. God wins. Jesus is coming.
He does.
And so when these things come
does he have permission?
Jesus said, lift up your heads and rejoice. Don't get miserable. Don't be discouraged.
Don't get sad.
It's coming soon.
He's right behind
only
you
God knows
in
the
jail.
Future. You've got people who think they know the future. Meteorologists think they know the future. Many a parade has
astrologists think they know the future too.
We really don't know what's going to happen in 2 minutes. None of us do. God does. I mean, if these horoscope people really knew the future, we'd all move to Las Vegas and become billionaires overnight because we know where the dice is going to roll. But we don't know the future, but God does. And he's written the future in his word.
Make some predictions.
And prophecy
in fact, that's the great thing about science.
Scripture. It shows us that his promise of everlasting life is true. Prophecy is a hook for the world to hang the intellectual hat on. They want a sign.
Not the right kind of hanging.
Apostle Paul, Acts 28:23, it says, He persuaded them concerning Jesus, both out of the law of Moses and out of the prophets. Law of Moses, that's the 10 Commandments specifically. The moral law, that's what I use all the time, following the footsteps of Jesus, bringing a knowledge of sin.
It's interesting that he is talking about Old Testament. We'll talk about that why later.
And asking someone if they've lied or stolen, looked with lust, or blasphemed. That brings the knowledge of sin. That's the purpose of the law of Moses. But Paul preached.
Give God an excuse to hurt people.
Yeah. Listen, he's God. He can do what he wants. He's the creator. You know, he can with his creation.
I know my people can't follow these laws. They're going to break them all the time. So I've got a stick here. So I've always got an excuse to beat the shit out of you whenever I feel like it. Because y'all been breaking my laws now. Y'all been breaking my commandments. I'm going to beat the crap out of you, whenever I feel like it, because he made the rules. Whenever he wants to have a global flood, a mass killing, he's got a reason for it. He's got full justification.
Both out of the law of Moses and out of the prophets. Why out of the prophets? Because the prophets validate the scripture is God-inspired. That means the promise of everlasting life is true. If this book, the 6 books that we call the Bible, is the word of the Creator, then the Creator promises everlasting life.
That heavily edited and redacted compilation of the vain babblings of an ancient Iron Age tribe of goat herders in Levant. That book?
Yes. I also he's like, if the book is true, then that means what it says in the book is true. Wow, deep.
No, it says it's true. It says all scripture is inspired of God and useful for teaching and reproach and morals. So it clearly says that it is itself authoritative.
It is very authoritative.
Gospel to those that come to Christ. So prophecy is an incredible tool, and there's so much disagreement with prophecy. If you want to split a church in two, stand up and say, I know exactly what, I've got the interpretation, who the Antichrist is, You're going to.
I like that he says that. It's kind of funny. He's like, oh, if you want to separate a church, bring up the Antichrist, who it is. Oh, everyone has a different person. Isn't that a bad sign, James? Isn't that what we say?
Yeah. How many, right there in this, how many bananas do you think he has concealed about his person in this video right here?
If I say 5, I feel like I'm being generous.
I mean, he's got like an ankle holster, like for a gun, but modified to hold a banana.
Yes.
He gets robbed in the alley, reaches down and pulls out a banana.
And again,
the thieves run away.
You think we would be making some sort of gay joke about, him shoving bananas up his butt, but he only does that so in case, he comes across an atheist. All right?
Naturally.
I don't want to make it seem weird.
Well, yeah. I mean, Amy, you listen, you coming across him, you might try to sexually assault him. So if he's already got a banana in there, then you can't, you won't be able to force yourself onto Ray Comfort. Because no, I'm sorry, suck it, atheist. I got a banana up there already.
Well, I will say, you're an atheist, right?
Yes.
And I'm an atheist.
Of course.
And a banana is the atheist nightmare. So I feel like if you pull that out, I mean, we just go, ah! I'm pretty sure.
Pull our hair out and run away.
Right down the middle.
Yes.
But so Ray's going to do a 90-minute sermon on eschatology. Ready, set, go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So what I've done is
no, he wouldn't actually pick someone as the Antichrist because then that would be committing to something. Exactly. And
it would be wrong. And yeah, what's the point of doing that? Everyone else who's done it's been wrong. Nobody's got it right ever.
Tried to go down the middle to try and stay away from prophecy, instead of throwing it out and saying this is divisive, it creates discord among the brethren, to say, no, this is valid to use prophecy when appealing to the ungodly. And so often I say to someone, do you ever study Bible prophecy? And they say, no. I said, do you know the Bible actually names the 5 countries that will attack Israel in the last days?
Wait, let me get this straight, because I love this argument. It's like, listen, did you know that the Bible actually talks about Middle Eastern countries. And to this day, when we're talking about Israel, did you know it's actually Middle Eastern countries?
Oh,
like, those are that's the neighbors. That's
Egypt
how it
was
works.
a country
actually.
back then. Egypt was a country back then. Syria was a region back then. They still had an area called Syria, and Persia. Well, there was the Seleucid Empire, Persian Empire. They existed. So, you know.
Yeah, there you go. They forgot.
And we're seeing prophecy being fulfilled before our very
No,
eyes.
we're not. No, we're not.
And I see people's eyes
Your
widen
eyes?
because
Your
they've
eyes?
never been told that before.
Mm.
You know, the prophecies
James,
of Scripture.
we have we ever done I feel like we've never done a Bible prophecy on this channel ever before. And so, have you heard that?
Well, their big thing is like the one claim to fame is like, okay, so the Bible in the last days, it talks about Israel. Well, for a long time, there wasn't really an Israel. There was not a nation of Israel. So now, oh my gosh, there's an Israel again. So the Bible can be fulfilled because now all of a sudden we've got an Israel. Well, they had, before there was Israel was back. Before Israel was back, they had different theologies and doctrines, some replacement theology that when it says Israel in the last days is talking about the church succeeded Israel. And then of course the Zionist Christians say, no, Israel's Israel. The church did not succeed Israel. God's not done with the Jews yet. God's still, even though 99% of them have been going to hell, he's not done with them yet. He's going to save a few of them at the very end. You know, his people that he told Abraham would outnumber the stars. Well, 99% of them are burning in hell forever, but he will save a few of them at the very end because he's a loving God. He's a merciful God. They're his people. And, you know, I mean, most of them are going to be burning, but, you know, there might be a few that he saves at the end.
To validate Scriptures being the word of the Creator.
You know, when you talked about the Bible validating itself and Paul reasoning with folks, I in preparing for this talk, I was looking at some prophecies.
Circular reasoning there.
Fired up.
Yeah, that sounds kind of
just because it not just validates my faith, but it gets me excited. I'll read a couple.
All right, we got to pause it. We have to do our Amy Newman beard commentary. What do you think about this guy, the bald head and the beard? What's going on?
See, I was going to make a different joke. Before I do that, okay, I'm going to give beard commentary. Can I make a joke here first?
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, oh my God, there's your traffic in and out.
He's got the top of his head nice and shiny. It looks like he's got a coat of wax on that. You know, he's doing a good job.
So, James,
he uses the same shampoo
as
Mark
say
Reid.
this to you. Can I tell you? Do you watch a lot of sketch comedy?
Negative.
Okay. When I look at this guy, all right, I didn't look that way at first. I'm gonna sit down. Does the squeak thing, but like when I look at him, he looks like a guy that is trying to play a bald guy. And I don't know why I get that feeling, because I know he's a legitimate bald guy. But I don't know if it's because I'm just watching I was watching a fake Dr. Phil with Bill Burr. Anyway.
Like you mean like he's not really bald, he's got like he's wearing something over his hair to make himself look bald?
I'm not saying he actually is. I'm saying that is like the way he looks.
He looks that way.
Yes.
Like he's in a movie playing a bald guy, but he doesn't want to shave his head.
Yes, it's a really good version of a bald cap. Anyway, about his beard. You know, that's pretty good actually.
Yeah. No complaints.
That's very nicely kept.
Neatly maintained.
He fills it in well, and yet to get that actual down, he had to put in some time and energy. Yes, he's actually an okay looking guy. If you're going bald, you should just shave it anyway.
Do it in style.
Listen, I prefer the commitment. I mean, I'm okay with hair plugs. I'm okay with people, but I feel like the Play-Doh it can only be sexy on certain people. You know what I mean? Like the island of hair. I'm sure there's a daddy out there that can do it, but
like men who wear hair pieces.
Yeah, like, and just if you have to spend as much time as I do putting makeup on as to comb your hair, then you might have a problem.
I mean, guys who wear like very well applied hair pieces, like that, like curved down, and the hair around the ears goes the opposite direction, and it's very well done.
Okay, listen. If you pull it off, you pull it off.
Yeah.
All right. But I do also.
Be the president.
I can appreciate both a very full lock of hair and also, bald, whether you are a sketch comedian or not. Anyway, nicely groomed, and here we continue into Bible prophecy, reveal, study, prediction about the end times. I think it really is going to reveal more about Banana Man's psychology.
They're worth mentioning. Micah 5, it's pretty famous. Verse 2 through 5.
Oh, it's so
but
famous.
You, Bethlehem, Ephratah, though you are small among the clans
I love
of Judah,
Bethlehem.
Out of you will come for me one who is to be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from ancient times. Go down a little bit. He will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord and the majesty of the name of the Lord his God.
Well, there goes my security question.
Then his greatness will reach to the ends of the earth. That is a crazy prophecy for this little tribe 2,500 years ago to write that his greatness will reach the ends of the earth.
So great.
And verse 5 says, and he will be our peace. And it mentions what his...
And James, ever since then, Christianity has brought peace across the...
Right. I mean, it's such a great prophecy. They made up a guy that fulfilled it. They wrote books about him.
Yes. Even if at certain points in history you converted or optional, didn't have a head anymore.
Birthplace. It's like, wow, we now 2,500 years later get to see all of the. I could name hundreds like that.
Do it.
But we get to live on
hundreds of dukes in the Bible. No, there's only like 40 of them.
But the people that didn't get to have that. I feel like, man, we live in such a blessed time. So kind of at the end of the story, we can look back and it's like, wow, this and this and this.
Oh, you mean these people who got to actually see miracles on a daily basis, who got to see God doing these things? But we're blessed because we have a book that tells you about all these stories that happened thousands of years ago that we can't see or verify. How blessed we are.
The other weird thing, and again, I know they hate the C word, the cult word, but if you feel blessed to witness the end of the world, are you really the good guys? That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that's like they want this to happen. They can't fucking wait. That's why the Christians are the ones pushing the Israel to rebuild the temple. That's who wants it rebuilt so that Jesus can come back.
What's up, Master Maverick? I know
they want to go in the Middle East and start shit. They want shit to go down.
Yes, because the word. Well, James, it's a catch-22. Because the better things are, the more they say that is the blessings of God, and the shittier things are, the more they say, well, this is signs of the end times. Well, I just want to send love out to Master Maverick coming in, saying God is good. Welcome. We are a skeptic channel. You'll find many atheists on here, but you're also going to find many theists as well. I know Chris Disciple's out there. I know Jafreak is out there in chat saying love. And we love the back and forth. We can't help ourselves. But if you are a Christian, we may be saying some naughty things. I will say. That is the warning.
Writing a book about this. Prophecy does kind of validate the Bible, right?
Yeah, the name of the book is called Volatile, and it's the word
sold at bookstores near you.
But I found myself using whenever I talk about Israel and the surrounding nations. The whole thing is like a powder keg, and the attack on them.
Get it? Because it's war.
Well, I mean, you see, the thing is, I mean, he kind of gave this land to his people, but okay. The thing is, there's already people living there, but no problem. Just go massacre them, and then you can have the land. I can give you land, but I can't give it to you without people living on it. That's just kind of a limitation I have as God. So no problem. Just go kill them all, and you can take their shit.
Let God sort them out. Can I also tell you who never comes
Let me
down?
sort them out. They'll all go to hell.
Because you know who would be really useful in the situation between Israel and Palestine? There's like a single person that actually promised them both Holy Land. God. And yet a no-show. A no-call no-show.
He's coming back any day. He's going to right the wrongs, dry every tear, suck every dick. He'll make everybody happy. Everybody gets a new puppy.
You get a puppy, and you get a puppy. You get a tank, and you get a tank.
Wick getting closer and closer to that.
No, I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm just saying it's
my God.
That's of all ways to do it.
The seven,
that's the way he chose to do it.
Closer and closer to that.
I just tell you, I couldn't help myself. This is just such a modern experience. It's just so funny to see a tank and then to see a guy that's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I want to have at least an Instagram moment.
Taking a selfie in front of a burning tank.
I just love you. They
could do it as a music video to the Maya he Maya ha ha while they're dancing on the tank. Yeah.
Explosion. But let me tell you something about Bible prophecy that I
tell
find
me.
thrilling
Do
in
it
these
to me.
terrifying days in which we live. My wife and I are big. Well, we're not big. My wife and I.
All right. I love this example because, like I said, it's more Freudian than I think anything else.
Are very large fans of rugby. Rugby's
his wife and him.
It's kind of like American
rugby,
football, but you don't stop every 15 seconds. It's just really exciting. We can't watch our favorite team play live because it so stresses us out. I'm not kidding. My wife will actually leave the room, people around the edge. So what we do, and it's going to sound terrible, we won't watch a game unless it's a rerun and we win. And you say,
what?
And that's like that just brings up the performative nature of this Bible prophecy is like why the theatrics? Why all this struggle and death when we already know how it's going to end? Why do we have to go through the motions?
But that to me, and listen, James, I'm not a competitive person. I played sports up until the point of age when it did get competitive. But is it not weird? I don't know. Are you a sports fan?
Yeah.
Would you just imagine only watching the games where your team wins?
Well, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so I wouldn't be watching very many games a lot. So.
But isn't that just this person? They literally get heart palpitations. They were run out of the room, and they can only watch.
They're just so used to winning because our God's omnipotent. He can beat your God. He's omnipotent. He can't be killed. He can't be defeated.
But way to build a sharpshooter fallacy around everything that you like in life, which is to say I'm only going to pick what, the things that are happy and that I like. And I'll ignore the times in life that are sad and just pretend that they don't exist.
Yeah.
That's a great way to accept the Bible.
Oh, it's like, look at the trees, look at the nice things. God is great because they give God credit. They give God credit for the good things, but how much blame do they give him for anything? They give him zero blame, no blame.
No,
nothing that goes wrong is his fault.
Satan.
He is not responsible. It's humans have messed up, or Satan, but he is good. He is perfect. He's done all these good things and everything bad. Well, just because he's omnipotent and he's all powerful and all knowing doesn't mean he has any responsibility or blame for the bad stuff.
Again, all the good stuff, God. All the bad stuff, that Satan guy or devils, demons, who knows who was lurking in the dark.
They fucked up. Listen.
I wanted to ask you something, James, Because and I know you were like a Jewish Christian, so it gets blurred anyway. But like, Jews don't believe. They believe in like the soft afterlife, or we're not going to really get into it afterlife or whatever. But like, what do Christians believe happened to Adam and Eve? Do you know?
Well, they got expelled from the garden. They had to live out of the garden.
But I mean, like, are they in heaven or hell now? Because they got to be dead. So,
I mean, I would think most Christians would say that they'd be in heaven because they had faith that God would send the Messiah at some point to die for their sins, and so I think they would say that they would be in heaven. Yeah. I mean, they had absolute knowledge of God because they talked to him. I mean, they put clothes on because Adam didn't want God to see it. He didn't want God to see his pee-pee, so he must believe he's real.
Exactly. If the requirement is just believing he's real, then I guess they have to be in heaven, right? Because you met him.
And trusting in his promise that he would send a Messiah. Okay, I believe that you will do that, God, and he will die for my sins, and then, I will have eternal life. Yeah.
Eternal life. Good night, Sage Ohio, and welcome everyone who is with us. We are having fun learning. I do believe more about Banana Man than I am about the Bible, but that's okay.
Was that Jacob's goat breeding program? The sticks and the goat. I think that was Jacob who had that weird goat thing where you put the poles up where the goats copulate, and they have stripes on the fur, the hair of the goats, based on the poles that their parents were in front of.
As we call it, a modern textbook. Okay, it's got valid
Genetics
information
101
for a modern day.
There's Genetics 101. Ken Hoven out there trying to measure goat dicks with a ruler. I did a study of 3,000 goat penises. I 4-volume study on it. You could read it if you like.
It's on DVD number 5.
No, because there's a silver lining.
Okay, what's the silver lining?
We know that we win, so we never get stressed.
I know, you're kind of... I hate to say a bitch. I mean, I don't even like sports, but this is just... I find it funny. All right.
That's what makes the emotion real. That's what makes winning so sweet. Because you lose some, you don't always win. You appreciate it when you win, when you know what it feels like to lose. But to just skip the ones where you lose and only watch the games that you win, it's like that's.
I also know many people who get like upset,
emotionally empty.
If you tell them who won, you want to watch it live, but if you don't watch it live, then you want to
if you know who wins,
your ears and
if you know who wins, it takes the emotion out of it. It takes the, I used to do that when I would work. I would DVR the games and watch it when I got home, and if somebody said that they win or they lost, then it was pointless to watch it.
In other words, I couldn't create a character like Banana Man if I wanted to. I think I do want to, and yet I don't know if I could have put that on my bingo card, James. I like watching sports videos recorded where I know beforehand that they have won.
We say, no, we know the end.
Wow.
And so we keep our peace.
Wow.
We don't get stressed. And that's exactly what it's like with the Bible. It tells us the beginning from the end from the beginning. God's given us. We win. Righteousness wins. God wins. Jesus is coming. And so when these things come to us, Jesus said, lift up your heads and rejoice.
Oh, and that's all you need to do in the Bible. You just go in there, it says God is coming, and it says Jesus, and then I think that's it. I think everything works out with Jesus, and he lives a happy life, and nothing bad happens. So we're good.
Don't get miserable. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, don't get sad.
Don't feel a heaviness. Just say, it's coming soon.
Don't worry about all the people in hell.
Oh, my goodness. I love that because he's saying, don't get upset. The world is about to end. This is I don't know if it's necrotic or neurotic. neurotic or if it's Stockholm syndrome to like sincerely want the end of the world to happen.
Time reach the lost because there are people out there that are terrified. Man's heart,
end of the world. Subscribe, like.
Hearts failing them for fear of the things that are coming upon the earth. Why? Because they don't know the end from the beginning, and we have it in that book, the Bible.
We have
wow,
it.
what a beautiful analogy. Okay, so let's talk about that. We're talking about a subject that,
That's
as you mentioned, it's people can look at it. It's kind of weird. It's kind of out
like
there.
a nice
it's
guy.
kind of like I don't want to talk about it. But in your estimation, does prophecy and evangelism somehow go hand in hand, or is it? Oh well, that's that weird Revelation book. We'll leave that at the end. Some brilliant scholar will decipher that.
That's how the Catholics look at it.
Where's the line between, you know what, let's not throw out 25% of the Bible. I've heard it said that 25% of the Bible is prophecy. Let's bring that back.
Why were they throwing it out?
Well, because Christian, like the Catholic Church, they just say like the whole prophet. They don't concern themselves with it. It's too complicated. They don't know. They just go about their business. They don't overly worry about it. Like,
can I ask you? And once again, I don't come from this background, but I hear like the Catholic Church is kind of condescending about their flock reading the Bible. They're like, listen, that's our thing, and we'll read it to you like a good bedtime story. Get here on Sunday.
Well, I think most churches they're okay with it today. There was a time where they didn't like it.
They're more reformed. There's probably different Catholic churches too.
Here's the thing: like once you start opening the Bible and start reading it, you run across lots of these contradictions and atrocities and things that don't make sense. Now, they had theological different doctrines and ways of getting around these and making it all make sense. They would teach that to their priests in seminary. They're very complicated. They're very ornate doctrines and reasoning. And that's where you got a lot of priests in seminary that would lose their faith. Like, okay, this doesn't actually make sense. I'm out of here. But if they stuck with it, then they were okay with all the doctrines and rescuing devices and provisos to make it all work. But the people, they haven't been to seminary. They haven't had all those rescuing devices taught to them. So the thing is, like, if they start actually seeing that there's contradictions here, then we have to go and teach them. We have to go and teach them, oh, well, that's not a because this, that. So they really just did not want the people meddling with it. And, once they did, then we have the Protestant Reformation. Now you have all sorts of doctrines and devices that different denominations use to get around some of the absurdities in the Bible. But, either if you're bound to stick with it, you just adopt one of them, you become a Christian, you take one of these denominations, and this is how I make it work. Or you just say, this is all nonsense. These reasonings are all tenuous. This is stupid. And, you lose your faith.
Back in to reach people. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's important to realize the place of prophecy and apologetics.
I like this point. Okay. This is my second anchor point. I had, I think, like 2 points I wanted to show. The first was just that lovely anecdote about sports. James, all right. I just want you to take in this and ask yourself, could Ray Comfort do a better, defense of atheism? Let's see.
This is going to sound as though I don't believe in apologetics, but I do. We've got something called the Evidence Study Bible that's pregnant with apologetics, just burstingly pregnant. It's got over 200 questions commonly asked by non-Christians. So I do believe in apologetical argument and in prophecy.
How do you get a Bible pregnant, Amy?
If we see our agenda...
Let me tell you, James, you got to crack it open and keep on working. Or so I've been told.
To try and convince the world that the Bible's the Word of God, it's a very hard row to hoe, and I'll tell you why.
It is?
Let's say you're a skeptic. You're an atheist. You're a very foolish person. You believe the scientific
Hard for me to
impossibility
do,
that
but
nothing created everything, which is what the atheist believes. Utterly impossible for creation to create itself. But you're not convinced the Bible's the word of God. And you mock the whole thought of Noah building an ark.
Yes,
so I attack
it's stupid. It's really fucking stupid.
The ark could have been huge. The animals small. This is how it could have happened. Noah didn't get the animals.
I
God
like that
brought the
side.
animals, and
He's
I
like,
convince you intellectually that no,
animals could have been small. God could have done magic.
Water, which is a clue. There was a worldwide flood. Now we've got a problem.
I don't see the
Jonah
Jonah
was swallowed by a great fish. That Joshua stopped the sun by just speaking to it. That Israel shouted and the walls came tumbling down. That Balaam had a donkey that spoke to him, and a whole host of other things that are intellectually offensive. They're like Goldilocks and the Three Bears type stories. I'm trying to convince you of. Then I've
I just wanted to put a pin in that, because did everyone hear that? Because Ray Comfort was just like, I mean, look, if you were to read a lot of stories in the Old Testament, I mean, you would have to be intellectually kind of inferior to accept any of this. It's like
they're kind of stupid.
I almost skipped the wording by accident as I was skipping through here, but he said it's basically a Goldilocks and the Three Bears types of stories from Banana Man.
I've got to go to Jesus walking on water, taking a kid's lunch and feeding 5,000 people. I'm not going to be able to do it. There's a quick.
I mean, come on. James, come on. You want us to believe a guy walked on water, made water into wine, and rose from the dead? What are we, Christians? Oh.
Quicker way to do it. And that is do what Jesus said to do. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature, because the gospel is the power of God to salvation. And once someone is soundly saved, God opens the eyes of their understanding so they can understand that God's chosen foolish things to confound the world. All these stories in the Old.
He's put stupid shit in there just so you won't believe it, so he can torture you forever.
And I also like how it's like once you've been saved, you can humble yourself to the things I just said were kind of stupid just like 3 seconds ago, right?
Yeah, they're stupid, but it's stupidity with a purpose.
It's with the trickiest. Open heart, James.
Old Testament, a foolishness to a proud heart. Someone who's intellectually astute, they would never humble themselves to believe those silly Bible stories. That's the wisdom of God. I thank thee, O Father, you hid these things from the wise and prudent and revealed them to babes. The door of salvation is very, very low. You've got to humble yourself. And that's what God's chosen, these foolish.
The door to salvation is very low. But that seems like you're saying the Bible is low standards. Like, come on, set your bar low. It's the Bible.
So if you're really
okay.
So if you're dumb as rocks, it's easy for you. Hey, come on in.
Stories. So the way to do it, to reach someone with the gospel and convince them the Bible is the word of God, is to use the gospel. It's the power of God to salvation. It transforms the heart. If you do convince someone intellectually to give their life to Jesus and there's no knowledge of sin, they're a false conversion. They're not born again. They just come along to church and hear some sermon and believe they're going to heaven when they die. But if there's not a transformed life, if they're not born again with a new heart,
well, then you're just born or again.
New desires, they're still in their sins because there's been no knowledge of sin, because they didn't have what Jesus gave, the law to bring the knowledge of sin. That law is so important.
Carpentry.
The work of the law is written on our hearts, Romans 2:15. That's the conscience. It bears witness. The word conscience means with knowledge. So whenever I witness to someone, I swing from the intellect to the conscience. And the reason I don't stay with the intellect too long is because Romans chapter 8 verse.
The reason I don't. You don't want to use that intellect, James.
7 tells me...
Don't think too hard.
Yeah, don't think too hard.
The carnal mind
Smile
is
more, sweetheart.
It is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be.
Speak less.
Human mind is in a place of...
Lower your blouse. Speak less.
And that...
James, is this a commercial for atheism?
Same verse tells us where the hostility is directed. The carnal mind is at enmity to God. It is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. In other words, it's God's...
In other words, you gotta be an idiot to believe this shit. So, what you gonna do? Oh my goodness. James, at least I feel like at least we're not exporting this ourselves. It's someone, like I said, from another country. But then I say, Amy, we're all Homo sapiens. This is a Homo sapien saying this to me. So can you really be too proud of yourself? Oh, our fucking species.
Moral government that's offensive to the ungodly. They don't want God telling them what to do morally. They're like criminals that hate the police because the...
It's not that. It's that he doesn't provide any rationale. It's just divine commandment. He just imposes arbitrary morality.
Can I also just point this out? And I swear I either heard this wrong, or I guess I am going to have a third pinpoint to talk about. But let me just hear this final end, and we'll wrap up.
God telling them what to do morally. They're like criminals that hate the police because...
actually, let me go back.
Government that's offensive to the...
because he's saying basically atheists don't want to do what God says because it offends them.
Ungodly. They don't want God telling them what to do morally. They're like criminals that hate the police because the police stand for righteousness. A criminal will kill an officer, not because of who he is, but because of what he stands for, his badge. He stands for righteousness. And that's why this...
No, criminals don't shoot cops because they stand for righteousness. They think they're about to get shot themselves, generally, for a variety of crimes, whether it is something that is extremely horrible or extremely just mundane. But they don't do it because they hate cops. There's never been... I shouldn't say never. I shouldn't say never. There are people that just shoot cops, unfortunately, because terrible people. But generally speaking, it's because they're committing a crime and they're having a fight with
They don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, they're having a gunfight not because they dislike the guy, but because they want to get away with whatever crime they're doing. Yeah. I mean, that's just an aside, but I guess that's my final point there. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But all right, James, we've reached the end of so much wisdom.
We've reached the top.
Well, what do you think? Because I thought that showed more about his psychology than it did about him. They got into 3 Bible passages, and everything else that I noticed was really about him telling us that he needs to make sure that the sports that he watches, they absolutely win. Yeah. But that was a good one, James. I got to admit. I didn't know at the very beginning. I was like, this is very vague. But the more that the video went on, I was like, there's some weird.
Well,
okay.
You actually notice he didn't really give any prophecies. He didn't really reveal anything. He just kind of went over the whole concept of prophecy without actually making any prophecies or telling any.
If anything, he kind of insulted apologetics. I mean, he didn't, but he did. You could tell he was a bit frustrated. He's like, fuck, I got this fucking apologetic book that is fucking... I've never heard this phrase. This book is fucking pregnant with apologetics arguments and questions that skeptics ask.
You don't believe correctly. You have to believe correctly.
And yet, I'll tell you, they just never want to believe in talking donkeys. I can tell them No matter how many times I play them a Shrek DVD, they never want to believe me.
And it's like, from the context of the story, well, why does this donkey have to talk? He's basically saying, no, God only put that in there because it's going to sound stupid and people won't believe it. Like, this sounds batshit crazy. Why is a donkey talking to somebody? He just put that in there so you would have pride and you would think, oh, this sounds stupid. I'm not going to believe this, which is a logical conclusion to make.
They also have my favorite check-all, which is no matter what the miracle is, well, God can do anything, can he? And you go, well, if you're going to play that card, sure, I guess a guy can cut the moon in half. A guy can come back from the dead. A man can separate an entire ocean or sea's worth of water. And I feel bad, DBK. We were supposed to show this one too. Children. And then also sending so much love to all of you out there. Send love, DBK, and all of you out there in the Skeptic and Ranting community. I think you've been out there a while, but sending love, God equals the square root of -1. Jason, Jacob B, everyone else. And yes, James, I think I unfortunately, even though it is a delay, I do have to basically run. So we are about to come to the end. Any other announcements on your mind before we head out?
No, thanks.
All right. Well,
maybe
then with that,
we do an after show Saturday night for the debate.
We may do an after show. It's the rare time, James, when we may do a political after show. It's probably, even with all of the stuff, I do want to release new comedy. I want to go up there and do comedy on politics. But our channel's not going to become, or at least our streams aren't going to become political in nature. But why not? This is one that's vague enough, and I feel like I have a good enough argument because it's not supposed to be. What's reverse exorcism? Wait, hold on. What's up, Lord Megatron? What's reverse exorcism? When a demon commands a priest to leave the body of a child. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a good one. And good night. In fact, yes, sending so much love. We'll do our outgoing. I also have to give love to Disciple Day for no random reason.
Thanks, Chris.
No random reason. Just sending love out to Chris. And with that, I think we are going to conclude our episode of Skeptic and Ranting, Bible Prophecy revealed stunning prediction about the end time, where we watched a video from the channel TBN, not to be confused, copyright infringement TBS, Bible Prophecy and World Events, for a good time as we ate bananas at the end.
Tricycle Bear Network.
Bananas also evolved to look completely different, and then we used artificial selection to make them into the yellow goodness that we either eat or use for any other variety of reasons.
Use as a hammer in Siberia.
Use the hammer in Siberia. I do want to thank my co-host James W, as well as all of the people in chat, our awesome mods who make the stream so great, and lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. You win a car, and you win a... Oh no, you just get to hit the bell icon, and then you get to join our live streams and see.
You go to hell. You go to hell.
And you go to hell. And you go to hell.
You burn for eternity. You burn.
All for not believing. When they won't give us the best evidence. This is how it always goes. What evidence would you
want? Evidence, just not faith.
Exactly. But they say, what kind of evidence do you want? And I say, well, I'm open-minded, but I'll give you empirical evidence. And they go, empirical evidence? Well, that's not, why would you even need or want empirical evidence for a God? That's not the type of thing. And you go, well, you asked me what type I wanted. I guess if that's not on the menu, what you got? And then they give us apologetics and arguments, and they're all terrible. All of them. Yes. Some people often ask us the best ones, and it's easy to give a scale. The closer it gets to deism, the better the argument's going to be, because the closer they're getting to the truth.
Because they're
saying, gotta get over that line.
They're not saying as much. They're not really saying a lot.
Yeah, well, if you include God,
very basic.
If you include God in Kalam, then it's easy to bat it away. If you say anything that begins to exist, I hate the sloppy, almost political language that it uses. And
like legally,
sure,
like a lawyer wrote it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, clause 37, paragraph 3, section A says, God did not begin to exist, so therefore God is exempt.
Exactly. Well, and they set things up. They say, well, what do we think God is? Well, he thinks that he doesn't begin to exist, so we're going to make everything that begins to exist. But we have no evidence for that thing to begin with, for it to have no beginning. In fact, we know where the beginnings are. We made them.
Well, we use the other things to infer that.
Yes, and we got our holy book. Our holy book says all. And yes, we want to thank you all for not only joining us live, but if you've seen this afterwards, hey, why not leave a comment after the show? And we also have the Skeptic and Ranting Discord in the link description below, along with our fantastic channel members. You can become one by hitting that button and getting our evolving badge system, which just naturally triggers creationists because things can't evolve. No. Pokemon actually makes them break out into hives. I always say that's what they think like evolution is. Like an animal just starts flashing and then it becomes a bigger, stronger version of itself. Anyway.
Wait a minute. Well, what's evolution then? You start off with an amoeba and you get all these other animals. So
exactly.
Somewhere along the line, an amoeba had to turn into something else.
It turned into my dad. I have an inside joke at home, but because, my partner's, a feminine, I'm a feminine, we're not going to make your mom jokes. You're going to make your dad jokes. So everything with us is your dad. Your dad. Who said that? Your dad did. Oh, God. It's such a bad, and yet it makes me laugh. I think it honestly tortures Rachel, but James, sending so much love. Yes, we are. It's our evolving badge system, as well as all of our Patreons at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman, and along with James W., we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Mwah.